What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Motorhead YouTube channel. So as you know, this is my 1987 E30M3 and we put a big old LS in it. It's got a fully built engine. It's super awesome and everything's been going super smoothly. And now that we have this lift, everything is just gonna be a breeze. So let's go ahead and get right into this episode. We got a lot to do today. There's so much work to be done. We got the brake system, we got the differential, the drivetrain, fuel system, and everything. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We'll start rolling all the footage. You may have seen a little bit of it. I haven't had it in another video, but let's go ahead and get started. Let's show you guys the brake system, and then from there we'll go to the fuel system, and then finally the drivetrain. That way we can finally get this thing rolling. And I'm gonna be super excited once the entire underside is done. And it honestly really sucked doing this on the ground with jack stands, but with this lift, it's just been a breeze. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, so we are running a hydro boost system, and this right here pretty much utilizes the power steering. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Not sure if we'll get to that today, but pretty much it goes off of the power steering pump and it becomes a circuit with your rack and pinion, and that gives you power brakes because you are not going to fit a booster in here with an engine this size. So as you can see, we have our rear brake line, which is going to go down. I'll show you that once we get in the air. And this is our front brake line, and it goes down to a splitter, which as you see, one goes to this wheel right here, and I have it going through that hole, and it comes down and it goes right here. We still need to mount it down, but I've really just been getting all the routing done, and this is really nice because now all of our lines are brand new, braided, and then that other line goes across and it comes out right here to a braided line as well. So as you can see, really nice. So here we have our rear brake line set up. So we're gonna get the car in the air, and I'm gonna show you how I plan about going and routing that to the rear. And that's gonna be awesome because that means every line on this system is now going to be brand new. This right here is our original, and the reason I replaced it is because look at that, just completely rusted. I can't imagine the lines look any better on the inside. The previous owner painted over them and everything, and I just didn't want that. So that's going off to the trash, and we are going to go ahead and install the brand new lines, which as you can see, they're all really high quality from Chase Bays, and it's got all the fittings we need. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, check it out, guys. I got my brake diverter for the rear brakes, and this, you spin this right here and it'll determine more or less to the rear brakes. So as you can see, it goes in out here to the rear brakes, and that's going to divert the flow of oil. So I'm very happy with that. Now we're going to go ahead and lift the car up, and we'll route this one to the rear. All right, so we got our first line ran, and I went ahead and tightened it already. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize these right here, and these are from the fuel line, which we are no longer going to use. And then we'll have this one go just like that. We'll have it go around here. So check this out, guys. We got it all mounted on with these little bad boys, as you can see. And it goes through here, goes around, goes under there, bolts down right there, splits into two. And these aren't done yet, but I'm gonna have them run through this little hole. I wanna find a rubber grommet that will fit in there first. That way I can stretch it onto here, stick it through, and then pop the rubber grommet in. That way it's not rubbing against metal here. And then right here, maybe I'll like buy something that'll come out and it'll clip into it just like that. That way it's clean, and then this goes into the thing right there. So I'm super happy with that. That's really nice. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can go ahead and route all of these lines for the power steering. So as you can see right here, we just need to put the fittings in and route all of them. I do have a schematic on how to do it correctly. So I think that's what I'll do next. I'll see if we can route that and see if we can get it all wired up, and hopefully that'll be the end of it, and we won't have to come back to anything and nothing will leak. So we're gonna go ahead and get all our fittings and get started. All right, guys, so I got my lines routed. We got one that goes way inside there, and these two that go up here. This one goes to the reservoir, and I'm gonna have to clamp this down. I really don't like how close it is to this belt, so I'm gonna get up under there. So we're gonna lift it up, we'll route all the bottom ones, and then our brake system will be complete. So that's super exciting. So I'm gonna get it up there and we'll see how it looks. And also another thing is, I really don't like how this is blue. So if anyone got some recommendation, like maybe some high heat sleeves, since it is going to be running by the headers anyways, something that will like be nice and snug on there, that could go up to here somewhere. Maybe I'll do black most likely, because I really don't like this. It just doesn't go with my engine bay, and that's the lines I had with the kit. But as you can see, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. My theme here is black and maybe just a little bit of polish, but not too much of it. So let me know if you got any suggestions in the comments, and that would be greatly appreciated. All right, guys, check it out. So we got it all routed, got it riv nut and tightened, and now that'll hold it away from that. I'm really liking this, guys. Check this out. I got everything under here looking super clean. All the sicky stuff is fitting awesome. This is actually their kit, but I'm pretty sure it's discontinued. Oh, also check it out. I got a little zip tie clip right there. So that's nice and snug and secure. I'm really happy with that. Now I'm gonna go up to the top one more time and finalize it. But other than that, the entire brake system is complete, other than the two calipers. But I have them going off to powder coat. So we're gonna get them completely rebuilt before we put back on, because we do have some rebuilt Brembos on the front, and I want the rears to be just as nice as the front. So let's go ahead and lower it down and check out what we got going on up there. So I just finished it up. I got a little bracket here holding both of them together. Real nice. It looks super clean, and it just keeps it all organized. And right here, I went ahead and put another zip tie clip. That way this thing for sure, I mean, you literally have to, as you see the gap, you have to push it for it to touch. And it actually has to apply some force. So I don't think that is gonna go anywhere. That's super awesome. We tightened it down, so this is all 100% complete and plumbed. Once those rear brakes come in, we can go ahead and get that done. But what I need to do first is I need to get the heater core lines routed. That way I can go ahead and bleed this system and have this thing running nicely. That way we can go ahead and do all of that. So that's gonna be last on the list. I think I'm done for today. It's getting super late on me, and I really don't have time to continue. So that's gonna be it for today. All right, guys, before we continue this video, I want to go ahead and talk about one of our sponsors on this build, and that's going to be Jegs Performance. I like to think of Jegs as a restoration destination. They got all sorts of stuff, whether you're building a hot rod or even a show car like my car that you're going to drive on the weekends. I mean, they just have a variety of everything. As you can see, I have a BMW, but I found plenty of stuff that is going to be applicable to my car. So I just kind of want to show it to you a little bit. So we are running their universal wiring harness, and what I really like about this wiring harness is it is extremely high quality, and it's labeled every couple of inches. So as you can see, front right turn signal, low beam, parking, and high beam. So everything is super easy to map out in the car. We went ahead and mapped a lot of the fuse box out, and I'll show you that in a second, but I'm really happy with the quality of it, and I am very confident to be putting this on my E30M3. And as you can see, we are running the universal heater core, and that is because I wanted to delete my BMW one because it was just bulky and it had a bunch of extra wires. So I'm really happy they had that. And also I see a bunch of other stuff that I'd like. I see they have an exhaust kit, and I do need to build an exhaust for this car. So I'm going to be looking into that. And that's just an example of what you could buy. You know, you could buy an exhaust for your car, a fuse box, and all sorts of parts in between. You're just gonna have to go and look it up. I'm gonna link it down below, and you can check out the store, and maybe there's something there that you would like to buy. So be sure to check out Jegs, and big shout out to Jegs for sponsoring the build and working with me on getting the E30M3 finally on the road. So be sure to check them out, and now let's get right back into this video. All right, guys, check this out. The entire brake system is done. I went ahead and drilled this out a little so it'd clip in there. We zip tied it here, and I put a rubber grommet. That way this metal won't eat through it over time on both sides, as you can see. And off camera, I went ahead and installed the fuel system, and we got it mounted right here. We got all of our lines ran. We have a return line and the line to the actual front. So I'm super happy with this. Check this out. This tank is nice and brand new up in there. It looks awesome. Everything turned out awesome. And the brake lines just go forward too. Super neat. Everything under here is just honestly exceeding my expectations. Right now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get the diff into here, and that'll allow us to go ahead and start working on that rear diff cover and building the mounts. And also, I do need to get the measurement to send it to Sicky. That way they can double check and make sure everything is correct before we get our drive shaft. So let's go ahead and get this diff in there, and then we'll get that measurement and then start working on this diff cover, because our diff cover on our differential is a little bit different than this one, and we're not even going to use the stock one. So I'll get into that in a second, but first let's go ahead and get it up in there and I'll show you the difference. All right guys, check this out. I got the diff installed just temporarily. We got our measurement for the drive shaft, and unfortunately today the diff cover did not come in, so we won't be able to do that today. But as you can see, pretty much I got to cut this off right here, and we got to figure out how to mount that E30M3 diff cover. It's going to have the 2 ears that come out, so we're going to have 2 mounting spots for it. So stay tuned guys. While we wait on that, we are going to do a little bit of work on the front. I'm going to go ahead and do the throttle cable and the pedal, because we are getting very close for this thing to drive. The drive shaft is getting made right now, and it should be on the way very soon. So stay tuned for that. We're going to go ahead and lower the car and move on to the front end. All right, so I couldn't really understand how this cable was supposed to mount, and I looked online and they're selling throttle cable mounts, but they're pretty pricey, like $70–80 is kind of ridiculous to me. So what I did was I went ahead and put a riv nut in here, and we have this right here, and so this is going to bolt on here just like this. So I'm gonna get it bolted down and I'll show you how it looks with throttle cable. All right guys, so check it out. As you can see, throttle cable works. Now we need to route it, and it's gonna go in right there through that hole. And that E30M3 is getting a S54, and so we have an electronic pedal for it, which means I can go ahead and take this pedal system since we won't be using it. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove it, get it installed in there, and we'll get that throttle cable routed through the firewall just like it is on this one and get it installed. All right guys, so I couldn't ask for a more smooth operation. So check this out. Look how nicely that fit up onto there. We got the spring on there. It goes through. I went ahead and put a washer on that just so it would be cleaner. And check this out. Smooth, doesn't stick or anything. So just like that, throttle's done. Now we just need to get a pedal installed, and we'll be good to go on that. So we got a couple other things we do need to do while we wait for that diff cover. So next up, what I want to do is go ahead and mount the brake. As you can see right there, we need to get that to go to there, but it requires a modified pedal, I believe. So I believe either A, we're going to swap out that other pedal into here that I have, or if I can modify it, I'll just modify it myself. I do have another actual attachment that might work, so we're going to try and do that next. This thing was just on fire, but check that out. This is our solution. Went ahead and welded it together. Now we're gonna go ahead and get it installed. Okay, so this thing fits really nice, but as you can see, my pin here is perfect in that hole, but then here it's way too wallowed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to weld up this hole, and then we'll drill it right back out to the size that I need, and then this should be nice and snug in there. That way it's not clicking around like that, because I'm sure it'll work, but I just want it to be nice and snug and clean since this is my brake system. So I'm gonna weld it up and drill it out. man, I gotta say that turned out beautiful. So it's not tight yet, as you can see, that's why it's loose. I haven't tightened that top bolt, but I went ahead and put washers in there, that way there's no play between these two. And as you can see, it's nice and flush. Once it's sitting here with the brake switch, it'll be perfectly. And then as you can see, we have our range of motion with that hydro boost, and I'm really happy with that. So check it out. Now we have throttle, brake, and next will be the clutch. But I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to use this master cylinder. I have to see where the reservoir is. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it works with the brake system. Obviously that won't work in our case, so I'm gonna do some research on that, and then we'll see what we need to do about that. But I'm really happy with everything else though. As you can see, that is awesome. Hopefully our diff cover will come in tomorrow and we can start building that mount for the differential. But as far as everything goes, guys, we are getting really close to being able to drive this thing. I cannot wait. We do need to tackle the heater core, so that's another thing we have to mark off our list. I'm making a list and we're gonna go over it, check everything, go through it nicely, and hopefully here very soon we'll see this thing drive. So I'll get back to you guys when that diff cover comes in and we'll start on that. All right, so our diff plate has came in. As you can see, it is 2 ears, and right now it does not fit, and that is due to this right here being in the way. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this off real quick, and then I'll bolt it down, and from there we'll go ahead and start building a little mount for it. All right, I got it nice and tight, just on 2 bolts, but as you can see, the thing is at an angle, so we need to find a way to hoist it up. I'm thinking what I'll do is run a ratchet strap to both of these right here, and we'll make sure it's level, and then I'll go ahead and start building these mounts. I got this thick piece of metal right here. It's gonna be perfect for our application. So once I get it level, we'll just measure it out and cut them out, and then from there it's just gonna be as simple as welding it to here. Hopefully it'll line up pretty close to this once we get it level. That way it'll just come straight down and it won't be too much of a hassle. Check it out, guys. Here are my pieces. So I'm gonna put one down. I'll show you how they fit. So pretty much that's the gist of it. Goes in there, bolts down, and gets welded to the frame. So we're gonna go ahead and get these welded on. I need to take this diff cover off, clean it off, and then we'll weld them, get a bolt and nut, and see how it all fits up. Check it out, guys. We are lowering this thing down. It is fully mounted. I went ahead and just put pour 15. I wire wheeled it first, cleaned up the welds real nice. And once that fully cures, I'll sand it down and sand this whole area and redo the undercoating. But man, I gotta say, I'm really happy with it. These are some beefy mounts. And as you can see, they're mounted really nice and straight. They line up. I got them cleaned up to go with the diff, and I welded them all the way around really good. We got good temperature and good wire speed, and it just worked out awesome. So I know that right there is going to be stout. The original one only had 1. So this right here is already an incredible upgrade. I'm still debating. Let me know what you guys think. I was thinking maybe of even just going ahead and taking this off, welding a plate there, and then welding a second one to right here. Let me know what you guys think, whether I should do that or not. I'm just wondering whether it'll be strong enough just like this, or if I should just go ahead and do that since I've already did all this work. But other than that, I'm really happy with this progress, guys. We're gonna have our drive shaft very soon from Sicky, and then I can go ahead and put that in. We'll bolt all this in for good, get the axles mounted, and the whole drivetrain will be complete. The brakes will be complete. We can start bleeding the brakes, we can start bleeding the clutch, and go ahead and get coolant in this thing. So super happy with this progress, guys. This thing is moving along awesome. I'm just really happy. If you look underneath this underside, everything, the diff, subframe, brand new tank, all the brand new lines, brand new brakes. We got new Hawk pads from ECS Tuning, OEM, brand new rotors. The front, we have the Brimbos with the slotted rotors. So I gotta say, guys, this thing right here is shaping up to be a beauty. And that's why it's been taking so long. I've been just slowly collecting all of the parts for it. People say, oh, why ain't the M3 done? Why ain't the M3 done? guys, you got to understand, I got around 50,000 in this car, and it's just been a slow process because I buy once and I cry once as far as all of the parts go. I'd rather just slowly collect everything good, such as this diff that I got for a great deal, the brakes I got for a great deal, everything. I've just been trying to collect good stuff for good pricing rather than either going cheap or spending a whole lot more money. But overall, I'm really happy, guys. The progress is incredible. This lift has made things so much easier. Just doing this job right here would be a pain on the floor, but we were able to get everything done in the air, and that's just incredible. So big shout out to Ben and Ben Pack. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this episode.